If there were chariots found in the Red Sea, it would probably have something to do with the crossing of the sea.
The Bible tells us in Exodus 15, it talks about Pharaoh's chariots and his host hath he cast into the sea.
Something strange is stirring beneath the Red Sea, where faith, legend and history collide. Salvage divers exploring a forgotten stretch of ocean floor didn't expect to find what they did. Shapes too deliberate to ignore, buried in silence and shadow. The deeper they went, the clearer it became. This was no ordinary wreck. Whispers of an ancient army, a vanished force swallowed by the sea, now echo through the currents. But what they uncovered isn't just rewriting a story, it's unsettling it.
This shows a chariot wheel. There's approximately 20,000. We've collected a couple of horses' hoofs.
Because among the ruins lies something far more alarming, and it may explain why this discovery is being quietly buried again. The drowned army mystery. Beneath the waters of the Red Sea lies a silent witness to a story long told in scripture, but rarely seen by archaeology. Pharaoh's army, drowned and lost to time. Recent salvage divers exploring a unique underwater landscape at Nuweiba Beach in the Gulf of Aqaba stumbled upon something shockingly tangible. Ancient wheels half buried in sand, encrusted with coral, and human bones scattered across the sea floor. These were no ordinary shipwreck remnants. The shapes were too symmetrical and deliberate, arranged in a manner suggesting a desperate retreat. The sonar images and drone footage revealed outlines of chariot wheels with clear spokes, hinting at a military force frozen mid-escape beneath the waves. What makes this site even more intriguing is its scale. The debris field stretches for nearly a mile, not just a few scattered pieces. Divers found multiple wheel formations aligned in a nearly straight path, as if tracing the panicked march of a vanished army. Among the wreckage were fragments of metal, axles, and the remains of chariot cabins, joined by hundreds of bones, both human and equine. The eerie discovery chills observers, conjuring an underwater tomb that almost echoes Exodus 15, the passage describing Pharaoh's chariots overwhelmed by the sea. Despite the dramatic nature of the find, many remain cautious. The underwater terrain here is unique, featuring a vast flat land bridge plunging into depths of 5,000 feet on either side. Early skepticism labeled these shapes as natural formations or remains from more recent shipwrecks. But repeated surveys and careful metal detection revealed strange metallic signatures beneath thick coral, challenging initial doubts as the divers pressed deeper. Every new image and sample made denying the possibility of an ancient battlefield more difficult. Yet this is only the start of the story. The real mystery isn't just the objects themselves, but what they might mean for history, faith, and archaeology. And, as one diver somberly warned over the radio, this find is accompanied by bad news, an urgent threat to the preservation of what lies beneath. Ron Wyatt's claims made waves nearly 50 years ago, but they were met with harsh skepticism. The diver who challenged the deep. In 1978, a largely self-taught adventurer named Ron Wyatt captured the imagination of believers and skeptics alike with a claim that straddled the line between faith and fantasy. He declared that he had discovered the lost remains of Pharaoh Ramesses II's army, the very force said to have been swallowed by the Red Sea in the biblical Exodus. Armed with little more than a second-hand scuba tank, a weathered Bible, and an unshakable conviction, Wyatt dove into the waters off Nuweiba Beach in the Gulf of Aqaba. When he resurfaced, he carried not relics, but stories, haunting images of coral-encrusted chariot wheels, human femurs, and broken bones strewn across the sea floor. Among these tales was the most tantalizing of all, a golden chariot wheel gleaming faintly beneath layers of coral, untouched for millennia. To some, Wyatt was a visionary uncovering physical proof of scripture. To others, he was a well-meaning dreamer chasing legends beyond his depth. Academics and government officials dismissed his findings as pseudoscience, noting the absence of certified photographs, excavation permits, or peer-reviewed studies. His lack of formal archaeological training only deepened their skepticism. Still, his unwavering faith and vivid storytelling refused to fade from public memory. He became a polarizing figure, mocked by scholars, yet revered by followers who believed he had touched the divine. Wyatt's tale was captivating just for the reason that it was situated in an unclear area of the whole thing between faith and evidence. Wyatt really insisted that the findings were so fragile because they were already fused with coral formations, getting combined with the metal and bone. He also asserted that Egypt's very strict maritime laws were applied on the site, and thus no excavation was allowed, as it was underwater in a legally protected area. The ocean, it appeared, was very fierce in guarding its secrets. For a long time, nearly half a century, his announcements were nothing more than rumors under the sea, unproven, unrefuted, and nevertheless, unforgettable. From the scientific community, Wyatt received nothing but scorn, but still, his enthusiasm was the starting point of a very silent revolution. Non-professional researchers, divers, and people with faith as the sole driving force behind them began to go through his maps and journals again, determined to find out what the Red Sea was hiding. It all started with one person's belief that turned into the whole movement to find not only the artifacts, but also the truth. It is yet unclear if Ron Wyatt was a prophet whose faith guided him or a storyteller whose imagination took him along. Anyway, his underwater explorations did create a stir that lasted, encouraging a new generation of people to look into the depths of history, myth, and mystery, and the place where the Red Sea no longer speaks of an army forgotten by time. But when modern eyes returned to the same coordinates with tools far beyond Wyatt's reach, what they found beneath the waves would reignite an ancient mystery and raise even darker questions. Technology unveils the past. With advances in marine technology, a new expedition equipped with over $10 million in equipment re-examined the coordinates Wyatt first revealed. The team assembled experts from diverse backgrounds: marine engineers, ex-military divers, and underwater archaeologists, armed with cutting-edge tools designed to peer deeper than ever into the Red Sea's cryptic depths. State-of-the-art side-scan sonar mapped the seabed in 3 dimensions, highlighting unusual shapes and patterns beneath thick layers of sand and coral. Remotely operated vehicles equipped with high-resolution video cameras descended to capture detailed images, revealing wheel-like structures with numbered spokes, unmistakably resembling Egyptian military chariots. Metal detectors swept the ocean floor, picking up magnetic anomalies beneath coral-covered mounds where earlier expeditions had found only silence. It became clear that this was a debris field consistent with a fleeing army, not a random scattering of wreckage. Adding further weight, metallurgists analyzing remote samples confirmed that fragments bore similarities to late Bronze Age Egyptian metals, but these artifacts were not simple to retrieve. Coral growth and crustaceans had sealed many relics in fragile, almost fossil-like cases, making extraction risky. Even the most careful cleaning threatened to destroy the fragile legacy, forcing the team to rely heavily on imaging over physical recovery. One particularly haunting moment came when a drone operator spotted a half-buried horse skull tangled in seagrass. Testing confirmed it matched an ancient Egyptian breed known for pulling royal chariots. Shortly after, the divers encountered extensive human remains: skulls, ribs, and spines entangled with broken wooden frames and coral-encrusted spears, suggesting a catastrophic event. The underwater site transformed from a mere archaeological interest into a haunting time capsule frozen in tragedy. Despite political warnings and decades of dismissal, technology confirmed that beneath the waves lay a mystery bound by both faith and history, inching closer to truths long lost, and not always welcome. The relics grow fragile beneath the sea, threatened by time and perhaps by other forces nearby. Political and institutional roadblocks. Despite the undeniable intrigue of the findings beneath the Red Sea, the expedition faced steep barriers before even sinking a single dive. Requests for funding through traditional archaeological and academic channels were roundly rejected. Officials dismissed the project as pseudoscience, with some publicly scoffing at the idea that anything more than coral and debris lay on the seabed. This widespread skepticism and refusal to grant necessary permits effectively stalled official investigations for decades. Government agencies and universities expressed particular concern about disturbing a protected marine environment. Several countries bordering the Red Sea quietly warned the team against exploration, citing fragile ecological preservation laws. It quickly became apparent that exploration here was tangled in political and legal webs far more complex than the archaeological challenges. These constraints made the team's mission all the more difficult and secretive. Rather than deter them, this resistance strengthened the resolve of those involved. Private backers stepped forward, mostly wealthy enthusiasts of biblical archaeology who had long followed Ron Wyatt's controversial claims. Some were motivated by faith, others by curiosity or the lure of adventure. Together they quietly financed the expensive operation, one estimated to cost over $10 million, in complete discretion. For months, the entire planning was kept secret. The team got permission for a geological survey, which was a cover for their real purpose, getting the flooded army's empirical evidence. This concealment was not just for the sake of avoiding bureaucratic hurdles, it was to protect the project from possible interference. It was an unrecorded expedition, and belief supported technology as much as it did. The political environment in this area is very tense, and every archaeological discovery that is made here has a say in the history of the world, religions, and cultural identity. The suspicion that something enormous is lying under the waters but is still closed to the public only heightens the situation. The team, after being pushed aside due to the official lack of interest and red tape, used the latest technology, which included sensors and deep-sea drones, to get their findings. Nonetheless, even with cutting-edge technology, diving into these politically sensitive waters implied confronting hidden threats. Some think that the site might be left untouched by the powerful players to prevent ancient controversies from surfacing again. There are also others who talk about the possibility of the removal of parts of the wreck by looters or unauthorized activities. No matter the reason, the hurdles were not only logistical but also a matter of deeper intrigue. Unlike the majority of the authorized excavations, this one took place in the context of silent resistance against a wall of disbelief and official obstruction that was very slow to lift. It shows how the quest for truth, particularly when it comes together with faith and old history, will very often run up against the modern political realities of the day. The dangers were considerable, but so was the possible reward. The story of one of the most fascinating lost human tales being uncovered. With these hurdles barely behind them, another grave challenge awaited, one that threatened to erase the evidence entirely. Evidence under threat. The artifacts discovered beneath the Red Sea are far from stable relics preserved to perfection. Instead, they are fragile ghosts, slowly disintegrating under centuries of relentless saltwater corrosion and crushing tides. The relentless movement of silt and the pressure at extreme depths have weakened these treasures beyond repair. Divers describe them as delicate, vulnerable even to the slightest touch, with many artifacts unlikely to ever be recovered intact. Metallurgists consulted remotely confirmed that some fragments matched the metallurgy of late Bronze Age Egypt, pointing to a time and culture consistent with the biblical account. However, coral and crustacean growth have bound the objects into immovable, natural tombs. Removing layers of coral would almost certainly destroy the underlying metal or bone. This leaves the team caught between two harsh realities: leave the evidence where it erodes, or risk annihilating it by disturbance. In addition to nature's slow destruction, something more sinister appears to be at work. Large sections of the debris field, once recorded by Ron Wyatt, have either been deliberately cleared or covered over. The missing golden chariot wheel that Wyatt claimed to have seen, but never officially recovered, remains nowhere to be found. This absence fuels speculation that either looters or governments may be erasing evidence to prevent its impact on established narratives. The scale of the site only intensifies the problem. Spanning nearly a mile along the seabed, the debris field includes wheel formations, axles, metal fragments, and human and horse bones scattered in unsettling patterns. The physical spread increases the difficulty of protecting and studying the site before further damage occurs. Each passing year could mean losing more of this underwater archive forever. Such rapid decay brings an urgent warning voiced by the divers. The evidence might disappear before it can be fully understood. For believers, this represents a profound loss of a tangible connection to the biblical Exodus. For skeptics, the vanishing evidence raises frustrating questions about authenticity and provenance. Regardless, the potential destruction affects all who seek to uncover the truth. The delicate state of these relics is a race against time and tide, but also a reminder that history's secrets lie not only in discovery, but in preservation. Without immediate efforts to protect or document the finds, centuries of heritage risk collapsing silently beneath the waves. This fragility makes the treasure both priceless and heartbreakingly impermanent. As the divers descend into these haunted depths, they are not just uncovering history, they are bearing witness to a fading story that may never fully reveal itself. The stakes are as much about safeguarding knowledge as about making discovery. Such perilous conditions make clear that if the story beneath the waves holds truth, it demands urgent attention before the waters reclaim more than just chariots and bones. The relics grow fragile beneath the sea, threatened by time and perhaps by other forces nearby. But while the evidence may vanish, the questions it raises refuse to sink. And what those questions suggest about history, power, and belief may be even more unsettling than the discovery itself. The truth that shakes empires. If the discoveries beneath the Red Sea are genuine, their impact could ripple far beyond the realm of archaeology, touching history, theology, and even modern geopolitics. For centuries, the story of Pharaoh's army drowning during the Exodus has stood as one of the most iconic moments in sacred history. Yet despite its prominence in Scripture, it has long existed without physical proof, suspended between faith and myth. The possibility of tangible relics, coral-coated chariot wheels, splintered spears, and scattered human remains. Bridging that divide could mark one of the most significant archaeological revelations in modern times. Such a finding would not merely confirm an ancient account, it would rewrite the boundaries between faith and science. Scholars who have long regarded the Exodus as an allegory might be forced to confront evidence that points to an event of real and devastating scale. The alignment of Bronze Age Egyptian artifacts across a submerged land bridge could force a revision of accepted historical timelines, raising questions about migrations, dynasties, and the extent of ancient Egypt's influence. The implications, however, go far beyond dusty textbooks. For believers, these discoveries could serve as a tangible affirmation of divine intervention, a sacred narrative solidified in coral and bone. For skeptics, they represent a challenge: how to interpret data that blurs the line between myth and material fact. This tension could ignite passionate debate as faith-driven interpretations collide with scientific caution. Politically, the discovery's location within a highly contested region adds another layer of complexity. Nations bordering the Red Sea, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and others may see both opportunity and risk in what lies below. Some may wish to claim the find as heritage. Others may prefer silence, wary of how such proof could disrupt cultural narratives or inflame ideological divides. If true, this underwater discovery could reshape not only our understanding of the past, but the conversations of the present. The vanishing of crucial items, for instance, the mysterious golden wheel, only makes the matter more interesting. If so, the wanton disappearance of proof by thieves or authorities is an indication that the tale hidden under the sea is too much to handle. The darkness surrounding the location tells of a fight that is not only about revealing history, but also about the definition of the history that is to be accepted. This conflict points out that archaeology is nothing but a battle of identity and power. Objects on the seabed are not the only concern. The uncertainty, however, did not deprive the discovery of its positive aspect. It serves as a reminder that history is a tale still in the making, with mysteries that are still to emerge from the most unlikely of places. The group of divers and scientists, motivated by their faith and curiosity, is a demonstration of how the combination of technology and hard work can bring to light the forgotten parts of humankind's tale. The discovery can be either finding or questioning, but it will always lead to a more acute scrutiny of the past in general. This submerged tomb narrates a tale of disaster, survival, and perhaps even God's hand in it all, to name just a few of the ideas it could suggest through its delicate artifacts. It forces us to reassess our knowledge and to be ready for the new proofs that might change our whole understanding. More than a simple find, the truth under the Red Sea is a summons to renew the search, to keep asking and, at last, to preserve the veils hiding our common past. When these very delicate objects slowly lose their physical existence, their importance, however, increases. They act as a spooky reminder that the past is still around, very fragile, and waiting for the ones willing to go deeper, both into the ocean and into the truth. This extraordinary discovery beneath the Red Sea reveals a forgotten world, rewriting what we believed about one of history's most iconic stories. As these delicate relics slowly disappear, the race to preserve their secrets grows ever more urgent. If this journey into the past captured your imagination, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's untold mysteries, and watch the next video appearing on your screen to continue the adventure. Your curiosity keeps the search alive.